All right, you grasshoppers. Thank God he's here again. He's healed up. He's like a miracle here. Most people still be in the hospital. But Mark Puttenvink, how you doing there, brother?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Good, good. Mark has a company called Patriot Training Systems. Great man. Trains everybody: Navy SEALs, kids, boxing, fitness. You know a lot of stuff. Like you know a lot of random stuff too.
Yeah, I'm like Cliff from Cheers. A bunch of random, useless information.
No, not random, not useless at all. I finally figured out. I get this red face, and it's always when I do shows, and I couldn't figure out why I get a red face. So I did a little research on cold showers.
Yeah,
So I'll finish off with the cold shower right before. So I guess it gets all the blood vessels going and everything too, right? Is that part of it?
yeah. And also, do you do any supplements that have niacin in them? Niacin
I might, yeah. Huh.
is
Does that
niacin.
do it too?
Niacin is good. It's good for you, but it's a vasodilator, meaning you're going to get red face from it. I remember years ago, I used to eat like 1,000 vitamins. They prepackaged. It was
Right.
some marketing, but anyhow, I took some and I went to the gym and my buddy goes, "Hey man, you all right?" I go, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "You're red as a beet." I'm like, "Oh man, I'm tapping out. Here we go." But that's what it is. It's niacin, it's a vasodilator. It will give you what they call the niacin flush. So that could be
You know,
part of it
I
too.
also you take that citrulline is supposed to be really good for your blood flow and everything too, right?
Yeah, so that may be a cofactor too.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Lots of watermelon. Watermelon has citrulline in it. Oh
yeah.
goodness.
Watermelon's great for you.
Okay, if we have a problem, we both have a problem. Our football teams played terrible yesterday. Yeah.
You
Did you
know,
watch the Jets? I didn't watch. I didn't watch the
yeah,
Jets.
yeah. And you know what, Tom? As soon as the ball went off his foot, I go, "Here we go." I just had a funny feeling. And
Yeah.
they said that was the first kick return over the first one this year that was returned for a touchdown, punt or kickoff.
Oh,
And that's, I guess, when they total it up, it's over 1,000 kicks. If you add up all the NFL games, yeah, and it just the Jets just cannot beat that team.
well, and I thought they were playing better too. It seemed like Zach Wilson was terrible. I didn't see
Well,
it, but I heard a lot of people talking about how bad.
he was not good, but both defenses played really well. I think the Jets had at least 6 or more sacks. So and quite frankly, there was a call early on in the game, just like when they played the other week. I forget who, but where it really would have changed the momentum. Where there was a pick six that they called back. I believe it was a pick six. Whatever it was, it would have put the Jets up at that point 10-3, and it was so windy, it was so cold, it was crosswinds. Neither team could get it going. I mean, it just was 3-punt, 3-punt, 3-punt. Yeah.
Guess
it did not.
We keep living up in Buffalo, man. That's what they get like 6 feet of snow.
Oh man, the photos I see on Facebook is, I'm some friends up there. It's just crazy. Yeah. It's insane.
And your health, you're all back after the surgery. You're back to 100%.
Yeah, pretty much. So, like I mentioned a while back, I journal everything, and I was tracking my training. And when I got the green light to train. I tracked my training, and I also tracked my pain level.
Oh.
And so right now it's been 0 to 1. I mean, you feel it, but it's not preventing anything. The doctor said, just go at it, man. Just go.
Cool. And it should be stronger than it was before, right? With that mesh in there. Is that the
theory? Theoretically, you could always re-injure or cause another injury, an additional one, but should be better, much stronger now, obviously. And I mean, it was so bad, Tom, I couldn't even get out of bed. Couldn't roll my leg over. But like now, so what I'm doing now, I think I mentioned to you last time, I'm taking one movement per day. So today I took a kettlebell, I do a squat, I do a clean into a squat. So it's a double hitch. So one rep is really 2 reps, and I would do 5 reps. So it's really 10 altogether. But I just do it for 20 minutes straight. And in between sets, I'll shadow box. So I keep my heart rate elevated. Sure. So in that 20-minute period of time, I get some really good explosive weight lifting.
Right.
And I'm also at that anaerobic threshold where, I'm burning up all my glycogen or stored sugar. So for the rest of the day, all I have really is fat for energy. And so the net 20 minutes. So I'll do like 10 minutes of warm up with shadow boxing to get nice and lubricated, so to speak. And then I do a 20-minute, really nonstop movement. The other day I did pull-ups. You can count reps. It's really, to me, not important. It's a matter of those 5 to 8 reps going really, really hard, so that you're taxing yourself. So you're using up all your stored glycogen, and then you keep it elevated in between sets. So in 20 minutes, you get really a lot accomplished.
Right.
30 minutes overall. Yeah.
Right. And would that be your whole workout then? As far as being in
Done.
the gym?
Yeah, done.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So then different points of the day, maybe I'll do some skill work,
Right.
But yeah, that's it. And so what I do is I try to do that like, every other day, that type of work. And then tomorrow I'll go to the ski hill and I do an anaerobic burst up the ski slope,
Wow.
so to speak.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
So.
And do you chart it? Like you say, you chart things. You just use you use a FitPal or anything like that? Any app?
Some days I'll wear my Apple Watch
Right.
that tells me heart rate and elevation, like especially when I'm doing that hill climb, because sometimes I'll go off the beaten path and I want to see the amount of floors I climb. But it's interesting because I got a good friend of mine, he's a little bit younger than me, but he's been having some issues with his heart rate. And they want to get him, when they test him, they want to get it up to 160 beats. I'm like, Steve, how the heck's that? Because when I get to the top of that hill,
right,
I'm at about 145 and I'm breathing really hard. Right. So I don't know where they're going to get him up to 160, but wow. Yeah. So I'll wear the Apple Watch, and again, Tom, I'll kind of chart. What I'll also do, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what I'll do is I'll time myself from the bottom to the top of the hill and make sure I maintain that time or try to improve upon it.
So that doesn't give you any kind of a gauge how many calories you're burning. So like my FitPal, I'll put in all my workouts and everything. So I've usually burned like 1,000 calories. It says, before 7 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. I always felt that was kind of high. Like if I was really burning that much. Do you think those are just kind of
1,000 calories is that's a lot of calories to burn.
Right.
I mean, I know guys that.
So that's an hour and 15 minutes in the gym, and it's a 3-mile walk.
That could be. I mean, it is possible. And that puts you in a really good caloric deficit for the day.
Yeah.
So that you maintain your body fat levels, I should say.
Yeah. Because normally my FitPal, if I don't exercise at all, is saying I can bring in around 3,500 calories. So adding another 1,000 to that, it's almost like
you can't eat that much. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So, but that'll keep you lean. That's the whole point, And I don't know how accurate all these are, but you can kind of guesstimate. And I always tell people, look, the easiest way to find where you are, no one has Polaroid cameras anymore. Take a photo of yourself in front of the mirror, with shirt off or in your underwear, and then don't look at it. And then 6 weeks later, a month or 6 weeks, take another photo and then say, hey, I see improvement or I see off the pizza.
Yeah, I know. Same thing as getting on a scale too. Like people get on a scale every day. I just don't think it's mentally healthy for you because you can be doing great in your diet and exercise, but maybe you drink a whole lot of water or something the night before, so maybe you don't lose weight or you go up a pound. Now you're going to be all disappointed, right?
So the biggest thing about the scale is it's a number now. So in my case, I weigh, generally speaking, say 155 pounds. But that 155, is it 20% body fat or 12?
Yeah, totally.
So it's just a number. It doesn't really represent anything. And this is, I won't call out names, but in the NHL, we always weighed in guys. And, what's the point?
I know. It is true. Herbie Brooks used to do that too. I think it was like every Monday we would have a weigh-in and a body fat thing. And I was paranoid about it. I was like a little kid.
We had a guy, everybody wore a towel. You get up on the electronic scale. I won't, again, mention anything. We had one guy would come take the towel off, like, please, come on.
Yeah.
And then exhale before. I'm like, dude, that is not going to make a difference. But, and some guys obsessed about it, like being on this number. Yeah.
Oh,
totally. But it doesn't really tell me fitness because it's more about body fat percentage, BMI, lean muscle compared to,
I know. I do things like I wouldn't eat the night before. I just think of laugh about it now. And I'd bring a bag of donuts with me. So after I got done on the scale, I'd go eat donuts.
Eat some, and we all know the guys that did not look like an athlete.
Yeah.
Phil Kessel, the Russian kid that played in Chicago, played for the Rangers, the big D man. What was his name?
I know who you're talking about.
I know he was there. Uli was there when I was in New York. Again, he was a big dude, but he wasn't exactly ripped. But there was another guy who was actually kind of.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about
soft, too. Yeah. But anyhow, again, at the end of the day, you have to be able to play.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like Phil Kessel's a great example. I mean, he's had a fantastic career.
He's just, but see, so we have to realize too, he's an outlier. He's an exception to the rule. Because I've heard stories. He'll be in the gym and he'll start breaking his chops, and then he'll load up the leg press with more than anyone else and rip out 10 reps, and then go back down to eating a donut. So, but again, that's a freak kind of situation. Yeah.
Totally, totally. Um, trying to think of what else. Okay, so what about the Thanksgiving? Now, are you a big turkey eater, or you try to be careful with your diet Thanksgiving?
No, I mean, again, because you and I were in the habit of eating well all the time,
Right.
and it's funny because we were talking about this the other day. So I had a kid fight Friday night, and he was like, "Oh, I can't wait to make weigh in and fight and then eat." I said, "But the funny thing about it is, if you spend a period of time eating properly, trying to make weight, and you have your event, and then you're just not that. You're not that. You'd think you'd want a pizza or something, but you get so into the groove that you just continue along the way eating healthy." So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be dinner for usual. You know, some turkey, some greens, and a carbohydrate. You know,
Yeah. And you know what it is too? Like when you're eating better, it's like you can't even eat as much as you think you want to eat. Like Thanksgiving, you're gonna have like 3 plates of turkey and mashed potatoes. You have 1 plate, then you pass out and fall asleep. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. I remember being a kid, and I had 2 cousins that were older. They were football players, and we'd have Thanksgiving dinner there. And their plate, the potatoes would be like literally a mountain. You know, and
but it's true. Even when I was on Survivor, so I lost 27 pounds in 16 days out there.
Yeah.
And and the same thing. You get on the boat, and they've got this guy on the boat. He'll order in the food, so it's all there ready for you and everything. So I ordered a pizza, cheeseburger, fries, the whole bit. 6 cold beers. Thinking I'm gonna I'm gonna get hammered. I'm gonna like eat everything. Couldn't eat anything. Couldn't even finish a beer. Yeah.
Right. Well, your stomach will shrink. Yeah. Not shrink, but you know.
Yeah. So that whole theory. Yeah, your stomach doesn't actually shrink.
No,
right?
I don't know really exactly what the physiology behind it, or it's probably physiology and psychology why that occurs. But yeah, I think it's more you just get into the habit, and your body really has a rhythm to it. We all know about circadian rhythm, but that includes your eating. For instance, our dog, when it's 6 o'clock, she doesn't look at the clock and go, "Hey man, it's 6 o'clock." Right. She knows her body's telling, "Hey, it's 6 o'clock. Feed me." And we're the same.
Yeah, and it's interesting growing up on the farm too. The cows, we'd always know where the cows were based on the time. They would go to the same spot in the field, same time every day. And obviously they don't have a wristwatch on them, but
yeah. So going back to what I'm doing now, Tom, I think what I really enjoy about this type of protocol is it frees up the day. I mean, a half hour, and I often think that listen, you think about so in my other sport, boxing, a 12-round championship fight is 36 minutes of activity.
Right.
And that's a 12-round championship fight.
Right.
How many minutes does the average player skate in a game? NHL? 15? 16?
Somewhere around there? 15 and 20,
yeah. And, football is a 5-second event with 55 seconds in between. So I think my point is, it's interesting. I was reading one of my kind of combat things this morning. The guy said, if you do cardio and strictly cardio without working your skill set, all that means is you're going to get your ass kicked for a longer period of time.
That's pretty cool.
It makes sense. You have to really number one, again, it gets back to why are we training? What's your goal? Is it aesthetics? Is it for sport? Is it for self-protection? Is it because for health, which should always be? And Pat McNamara says there's 4 reasons. First one is longevity. That's the reason we work out. Second one is to save my life. I got to put myself over a wall if there's dogs chasing me. Third one is to be Batman, pull a guy out of a burning car. And the fourth one is to kick butt if necessary.
Yeah. Be a badass. Well, I just think psychologically too, right? Like working out. That's the thing. I think we've talked about this before in hockey, for example, and I did it many times as a coach too. We would bag skate guys. So if they did something wrong, lack of discipline, we'd skate them. And I think that's such a mistake now, right? We want to look at conditioning and fitness as fun time, not as punishment time, right? That's
and you know that this will come no surprise to most people, but the best players were the guys that were always ready to go first on the ice, and they'd come up to me and say, "What do you have for me today? What are we doing?" And like really enthusiastic about it.
Yeah,
and those were the best players on the team.
Yeah. I'll always remember my junior coach, Rick Kay, did so much for me. I think I told you the story. Like we'd do the breakout drills. And God, like I hated him because I feel like he would yell at me the whole time. Now, obviously he didn't. He wasn't focused on me. But that was my feeling as a 15-year-old kid or something like that. I felt like he's always yelling at me. But it really forced me to do it right. I said I didn't want to get yelled at anymore, so I'm going to do it right. And it was a big part of my game. Yeah.
He knew you could do it. He knew that it would help you move along. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it because I look back and I said, well, really saw something in me. He thought that I could
Mm-hmm.
play, but this is a part of the game that I need to pick up and get better at because he just relentless on it. He was just constantly pushing. So it's
Well,
funny looking back after going up to Marquette. It's funny looking back at some of the people that help you in your life along the way, right? Make you
mhm.
really shape you when you are. Like Rick Conley, my coach up there. Have I seen you since? Did we do a show since? I don't know if we did.
I'm trying to remember now.
Yeah. So he's the athletic director there now. He'd
Yeah.
left. He was at Northern Michigan, started the program, he was coach and athletic director there. They left and coached at Michigan State. He had retired. Now they brought him back as the athletic director again. And when I saw him, I just cringed. He was dying laughing because all the stupid things we did back there in college.
Yeah.
And he was actually telling some stories too. That we had that one time, and I don't know what prompted it. He couldn't remember either. But he'd gone out on a recruiting trip. So obviously the assistant coaches were there running practice. And for some reason, whatever it was, we were boycotting practice.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we were skating around with our helmets on backwards. So the coach has to call the head coach who's out in British Columbia recruiting. So listen, you need to get back here now. The guys are rebelling. He told a story, and I was looking at the poor man, and I was just thinking, I apologized. Actually, when I made my presentation,
Yeah.
I got up and I said hello to the coach, and I said, listen, the first thing I got to do is apologize. I'm just so sorry for it. You could tell he was loving it too, because I was thinking to myself, it really made me think back to some of the stuff we did. I'm going, oh my God, like that poor guy. I asked him how much he spent on therapy. We were terrible.
Well, I think it works both ways. So like the coaches know that part of it, like when you're doing something like that, shows that you're engaged. You know, you and your teammates are engaged, and you're making a statement, as opposed to just shrugging your shoulders and going through the motions and hoping for the best.
This is true.
So,
yeah.
You're
right. We were engaged, and that's a great point. I saw somebody else. I saw a woman years ago. She was working for some financial planner. She'd gone to school there when I was there. I did not know her, and she made a comment to me. She says, "You guys lived all out when you were there," and I said, "Yeah, we did. Yeah, definitely."
So Friday night I had like I said, had a kid fight, and ran into a bunch of people that over the years we either boxed or I trained them, professionals and amateurs. So it was a little bit of a kind of a home. It was the first amateur fight I've been involved in around here for a couple, 3, 4, 5 years more.
Right.
And it was like old home week, but
yeah.
But the same thing. I mean, there's some people that I trained or I worked with. Sean George is a good friend of mine. Who's a phenomenal. He went and he, by the way, boxed up in Northern Michigan with Al Mitchell.
Well, that's right. You told me about that.
Yeah. Kid from Bed-Stuy. He went out there with Jermaine Taylor was his roommate, who later became a world champion. Sean had a really great amateur career, really good professional career. Now he's a trainer, and I was his strength guy when he fought, and then we worked together, training guys. So, but anyhow, the point is, it was good to see some of the guys and go over the old stories and crazy stuff we used to do, and the incident at his wedding with me and Beth, which we'll discuss another day.
I'm sure Beth was really proud of you based on the way you.
Yeah, so we had just started dating, and the wedding was at Tavern on the Green.
Oh,
and she didn't really know me real well, and I didn't know her real well. I think it was our second or third date, and I'm looking for a parking lot, and a guy's trying to cut in and out. This is the old part. I'm getting all jacked up. I'm ready to hop out the car. She starts undressing to get me to calm down. She doesn't even really know me. Starts taking off her stockings. She's like, yeah, you're gonna calm down. You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're walking into the Tavern on the Green, and there was a homeless guy. He's on a bench. He just looks at us and says something like, "Looking fine tonight." I'm thinking, I'm going to lose my date to a homeless dude because she's looking at me like I'm out of my mind. Like I have so we get in there, and you got a toast for the wedding, right? So I just started to rub the small of her back, and my hand kind of slid down lower and lower. And she very calmly says, "Take a look behind you." I go, "Why?" She says, "Just take a look." And I didn't realize it, but behind us was this huge, like sliding glass doors, and there were outdoor diners staring in and seeing me pretty much
molesting her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Here's a good question here. Boy, did you work out much when you were in the NHL? No. Well, I shouldn't say no. It was more during the off season. So typically you'd take maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks off, and then you get back in the gym. And for me, I would get in pretty good shape. Actually, I'll never forget Cam Connor. So he was with the Rangers my first year. And I had worked out hard. I went up to Northern Michigan during the summer. So when my senior year was over, Went and played in New Haven in the playoffs. Realized, okay, now I need to go back and get to work. I want to make the NHL team. So I had a fantastic summer working out, and I came into camp in great shape. I was jacked and everything. And I remember he got sent to the minors, and before he left, him and I got to be pretty good buddies. And he says, "Okay, Tom, don't lose that what you got going."
Mm.
And I didn't quite understand what he meant. You get in the NHL, especially back then. The guys are going for beers after practice and everything, so you're rushing out of the rink. And I saw him after, and he says, "You didn't do it, did you? You didn't stay in shape." Like I was in shape. You know this. You're in shape aerobically and anaerobically, but your muscle mass that you built up during the summer would go. And it didn't have to be like that. We could have worked out, kept ourselves strong, but that's
well. The schedule is very difficult to really work in. I mean, even practice. I mean, when just a practice is a novelty. Some weeks. Most of the guys that were in the gym with me were the healthy guys.
Yeah.
The healthiest players in the league, healthy scratches all the time. Yeah. But I mean, occasionally, I shouldn't say that. There'd be mornings where if we did have practice, they'd want to spend 15 or 20 minutes doing something very specific that they thought they needed to work on.
Right.
I remember Radek Dvorak. I don't know if you remember him, but he wanted to work on getting a stronger shot, believe it or not. I mean, he's in the NHL, which kind of says something that he thought he needed to improve on that. So we did a lot of medicine ball, trunk wall tosses and stuff. I was trying to build up his rotational strength. Right. But again, that was a very specific thing that we just had the luxury to do that particular day.
Right. A lot of guys work out after the games now too, don't they?
Yeah. So what I did was I had 3 different bike rides on the wall. One was if you played less than 10 minutes. One was if you played 10 to 20 minutes. And then one was 20 plus minutes. So each guy had a different ride. The guys, obviously, they're healthy scratches. They're in there in the first period with me, where I got them doing some dumbbell circuits and some riding the bike or whatever. But yeah, a lot of guys will go away, and I know some guys even before the game they like to, with really light weights, do a quick circuit, and it's a great idea because it gets your nervous system jacked up, gets your blood flowing, gets you maybe gives you time to mentally kind of get ready,
Sure.
And I think preparation at that level, Tom, you'd agree, is really just as important as your skill set, because you could have the skill set, but if you don't prepare, it doesn't mean anything. You can't utilize it.
Yeah. And we always didn't do as much as we should have too, Well, that's, I don't regret it. That's just the culture back then, right? That's, I remember Robbie Fattori came in. I know you love him too. He's fantastic. He came in and started stretching and everything. We're like, what's this guy doing? Like what's he doing on the floor?
Yeah, that's Robbie. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He didn't care. That's about Robbie. He was so disciplined, so focused. He would do his stuff. I want to ask you real quick. Did you do a lot of core stuff back then when you were training the NHL?
Yeah. So, the thing about the core, I think it's a little misunderstood, Tom. A lot of lifting that you can do, which we call multi-joint, muscle lifting. So like say snatching and cleaning and working with dumbbell swings and all that. You really don't need to do just core alone after that, because there's so much core stabilizing musculature utilized in those movements that you're really, and that's why I love all those kind of movements, the cleans and the snatches and the dumbbell swings, and because you're getting a lot of bang for the buck.
Oh, those kettlebell swings. Oh man, you could just do those like you were talking before. You just do that and get a game.
I think Saturday I did an hour.
Yeah.
5 reps.
And even doing exercises on the Bosu ball too. You have the Bosu ball upside down. Really forces you to get core.
Yeah. I mean, the key to all of this really is to have, so let's just break it down to you have to have a basic strength and power level to begin with. So that's where you're performing early on, just 10 and 12 reps of some very basic movements. Right. And then as you get that base down, then you can start to really get at complicating things with the Bosu ball, where you got to really work on your balance and your core strength and your stabilizers. And let's face it, when you're playing hockey or you're playing any sport where there's contact, you're going to be on one leg more often than you're on two, meaning that work those kind of lunges in different directions and kind of put your body in uncomfortable positions, because that's what's going to happen on the ice or on the football field or basketball court or in battle, for military and LEO guys. Yeah.
What's the exercise when you do it's like a power? It's just a snatch where you take it from the floor to your above your shoulders.
Yeah.
Above your head?
So above the head's a snatch. Right. Those are very technical based lifts.
I watch a lot of those reels where they have people doing it. Like they really know, and flexibility too. So I tried my shoulders probably the same as yours, right? So
I
they
can't.
don't, yeah, they don't go back that way.
No.
But I was in the gym one time, so I said I'm gonna get that. And I saw girls, with 45s on there, so getting 135 pounds, pretty easy. So I tried to do it with just the bare bar, 45-pound bar. I couldn't get it up.
Yeah.
And luckily, there was a trainer there, and he came by because he knew my ego was getting crushed. He's like, Tom, it's got nothing to do with your strength. You're just not flexible enough. All right, that's what it is. I said, "Ah."
Well, so what I've learned over many years is that they're great lifts, but you start off with a broomstick or a hockey stick. So when I would do a hockey school, we'd have the kids doing snatches and cleans just with their stick because they have to learn to perform the lift before we put any weight on, because then you're just asking for injury and there's no benefit to it. But I even would break it down. So like on a say clean where it's you have from the floor to your waist, you pull it up and you receive it here. Well, it's really not an athletic movement. Okay,
Right.
There's not many sports that you're going to have 200 pounds holding it right here. However, if you break it down to, hold on.
Getting physical. We're getting physical
Getting a
here.
little worked up over here. Yeah. If you break it down to where you're just gonna go from the hip hinge and just come up without turning it over, that's really good application because you're using your hip flexors and your core and your big muscles, your bottom. So if you break it down into components like that, it can be really effective. But I get a little scared when I see these CrossFit people going in and they're doing 30 reps of a clean and there's no training and there's just,
Yeah. Because you're right. The technique is all about like getting underneath the bar.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I'm not too keen on CrossFit. I mean, I like the saying CrossFit changes my life. Yeah, it changed a lot. Now you got L4, L5 subluxation.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff like that, right? Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know. They do these pull-ups. They call them kips. It looks like having a seizure.
Yeah. What's that all about? Is that just a way
I have
to
no
cheat?
idea.
Is that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's how they can say they just did 60 pull-ups, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That is true.
But anyway, there are some components of CrossFit. However, I like the way they construct, multi-muscle, multi-joint movements. We were just talking about. It's just the way they go. They commercialize lifts that should not be commercialized. They should take they require a lot of individual coaching. Again, it's just, my job is to get you strong and maintain your strength, not to ever hurt you. If you miss a game because of me, fire me.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. So where do you go for Thanksgiving then? You stay home or?
So yeah, the boys are,
That's right.
yeah, Sean's going to be in the city with his girl. I think he may have to work a little bit that day, actually. Ty, I think, is going to go with his mom down by her aunt. So it's just going to be Beth and I and Sophie.
Oh.
So I haven't decided if we're going to cook or I'm just going to take her out or, whatever.
So we have so the boys, they've been great. So the oldest one's married, the younger one's got a girlfriend lives with. So they've been really good the last couple of years because they can always come to my house all the time. I'm cooking all the time on Thanksgiving. But they've, taken their girls away to see their family.
Oh, great.
So,
excellent.
Yeah. But this year they're all going to be around. So we'll be cooking over here. And I love
cool.
Thanksgiving. Oh, got the pies.
It's a great time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The smell of the house with the turkey and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. They should make a candle, a Thanksgiving dinner candle.
Good point. I'd actually like to try doing a fried turkey one time, but then I said, well, then I don't get the smell in the house.
There's a guy, he's called Stale Cracker on YouTube. I'll link you. I'll send you.
Right.
He's a Cajun. Oh. And so when he cooks, he's cooking for like an army.
Oh, okay.
He's got these big, he uses a paddle to mix everything. Yeah. But he did turkey yesterday. I was watching. And what he did was he had like a pot with a stem cone. He called it the stripper pole. So he'd stick the turkey on it. But first he poured a couple beers in there and onions and stuff like that. So it steams the turkey and then all this stuff. And he takes that. He goes, now I got to crisp up the skin. And he sticks the thing on another thing on the table. And he had like some kind of torch he called the Louisiana Dragon. And he just kind of like that. Yeah, but it was pretty
funny.
cool.
That is funny. Yeah. I don't baste the turkey at all. You baste your turkey?
I no, but because Beth and I will just get a turkey breast because we can't.
Yeah.
But so this guy, what he does, he takes a syringe and that juice that's on the bottom, he'll reinsert into the turkey.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
That's a good idea.
And when he cut it, you could see all the juices just running. It was amazing.
Good. Yeah, mine always I get the butterball, and it always seems to. I really don't do much to it. I season it up a little bit, but we don't need the skin anyway, so it's just.
Yeah. So what he did was he took the beer and the onion and all that juice. He took the turkey out, rehydrated, then put it back in and finish it off.
Oh, cool.
That's
a good idea.
Cool. Yeah,
it's a really good idea.
And he's an entertainer. It's a little bit of entertaining with that Cajun
he puts on a show. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to go out and hang out with the guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we get it going here pretty good too. My boys are pretty funny, and the girls are funny too. And poor girls, once you eat a bunch of turkey and a few cocktails, then the gas starts flowing. So,
Yeah.
and the
Five
girls are
men.
like, yeah, the girls are like family now. So it's like no holds barred kind of thing. The poor girls have to smell that smell.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I won't see you again until after Thanksgiving. So have a great time with your family.
You too, Tom. Have a great one.
You too, brother.
All right, man.